Okay, well, I guess a little bit about what we're gonna see. We're gonna walk in and go over this old roadbed right here, and then we're gonna drop down kind of into the floodplain of the creek river over here. And then we're gonna walk along the Toa slope, so it should be a real easy walk. And then we'll take you out to a little point that kind of gets you sort of out into the wetland, so you can kind of take a look at that. And we'll just talk about stuff along the way, and if you have any questions, you know, can't guarantee that we'll have an answer, but we'll do our best to try and find an answer for you.
Is there actually an established trail to get there, or we're just sort of meandering?
We're going to bushwhack today, but hopefully by this time next year we'll have a really nice, easily accessible foot trail that will basically start here. You may see some flags, and it will kind of follow the contour of the land all the way over to the other side where the utility right-of-way comes out of Summers Walk. And we're going to
natural surface trail.
It'll be a natural surface trail, so we're not going to put gravel on it.
But the one we're walking today is basically the plan. Is that
the one we're going to walk today? We may walk part of it, but I think my goal when we were laying it out was to provide people visual access to some of the more sensitive areas, but to try and keep people out of them. So it's like you can see them, you can kind of experience them, and we'll kind of dip in and out, but we really want to try and keep most folks from just stomping all over the place. Because there's some pretty sensitive, species in here. You know, the other thing, at some point in the future, this trail, some of the things just to kind of take note as we're standing right here, in case you didn't know, you ever heard that that song, picking up pawpaws and putting them in your pocket? Well, this is a pawpaw plant right here.
Okay, that's what that is.
And they're all along here. You probably on the way out you'll be able to see them. But they form these little fruits, and raccoons and possums really like them, and apparently the tiger swallowtail caterpillars really like them too. Smooth bark that E plus S carved their initials into. I don't know that there's a beech tree in the county that doesn't have somebody's initials on it. We have some really nice beech. We have some really nice oak species in here. And then as we get a little bit further in, we'll talk a little bit about some of the herbaceous stuff. So if y'all are ready to roll, we'll just kind of plug away. Here's a leaf left over from last year. This is a swamp chestnut oak. This is one of the oldest ones, biggest ones, most impressive ones that we have in the county. We have several along here. There's one here. There's another one over here. Other oak species, there's two red oaks right there. Looks like there's a white oak over there. So just right here we've got 3 of our oak species, which is, especially for this guy, it's pretty cool.
Can I just chime in with a couple things as we walk along here, Frank Bird? Because one of the great things about the Greenway trails is you save habitat like this that's not all that common, and so as a birder, I love coming in here to hear things that you don't get to hear at a lot of other places in the county. And right now, the bird that's singing up in the trees here that's kind of got a rising song and then a sneeze at the end, right there, that's a parula warbler, northern parula, type of warbler. Earlier there was one that was a real loud explosion kind of call. It was an Acadian flycatcher in here. So these are good birds that you only find in areas with, you know, larger trees or bottomlands like this. It's you don't find them a lot of places in the county.
This is the equivalent of an Italian porcini. This one actually is bitter, but porcinis do grow in Mecklenburg counties. Matter of fact, I can gather as many as 110 different types of mushrooms. The interesting thing about these mushrooms is every tree and every plant you have here has a mitochondrial relationship with them, and they form a sheath-like growth on the root hairs. And you can see this one stains blue, and it has these little tubes here.
One of the things that kind of gives it away, if you're, you know, we have volunteers come out and do a lot of cutting of this, and sometimes they all start looking the same. But if you turn the leaf over, it's real silvery on the bottom, and that's what it gives away. It has a real nice fruit on it. I mean, it's small with a seed in it. The birds like it. It's real nice for birds. Unfortunately, they help spread it for us, which we don't like. You can eat them. You know, people do eat the berries. You can make jam and jelly and whatever out of them, but that's one we like
Why
to
don't you
get
like
rid
it?
of. It's very invasive. It's from Europe, and they spread like crazy and take over everything. We've got, I mean,
It's wet, you could grow a lot of stuff, but the beavers said, hey, this is my place now. And so what the beavers have done down here is actually pretty impressive. I mean, there's probably several families. They've done a really good job of damming the water up, and we're going to let them roll. Because they obviously provide a lot of habitat for other things. So a lot of your vegetation is going to change when you get down there. You have plants that have to grow where it's
It
wet.
grows in a vulva-like cup. This is chicken mushroom. Some people call it fried chicken mushroom. It doesn't really taste like it, but it's a edible wood-boring fungus. It's real easy to identify. This is lentus, which is related to oyster mushrooms. It's too furry and hairy to eat. And then this is the wood-destroying fungus. This is one of the polypore funguses. And all these rotting trees you see around here are done by these polypores. There's probably 3,000 or 4,000 species. There's only 3 that I know of that are edible. No, 4. There's liver mushroom, hen of the woods, chicken of the woods, and umbrella polypore. And all of them.
The mountain would be big enough to hold like 20 hogs. It was like a redwood forest.
Tree behind Gary at the bottom looks like they've chewed on the bark. If you look down, straight down here, I would suggest that this is probably a beaver run. This is where beavers access the upland area. You can see where they kind of chewed on some stuff. If we're not going to do it today, but if we were to continue to walk this way, they timbered an area almost right down to the wetland. And the beaver are loving it over there because there's tons of food for them.
What do they eat?
They're trees and they eat vegetation. The beaver are kind of weird. I mean, sometimes you can go to one place and beaver are eating one kind of tree, and then you go to another place and they're eating another kind of tree. I'm not a beaver expert, but I know that we find them, I mean, typically they like sweet gums because the bark is pretty soft and they like it, but they'll chew on tag alder and
some areas it'll look like they almost clear cut it. You'll just see it. They cut every tag alder in the whole place to be gone. And really no trace of it.
it's just really variable. They don't generally attack ironwood because they want to keep their teeth. And ironwood is a pretty formidable tree for them. But they really are kind of, it's just kind of weird what they eat. It's pretty variable. It depends on what's out there. But for a beaver, this is an awesome place to be. Let's walk down to this beaver run real quick. I'll show you some wetland plants.
Something
Native, quote-unquote bamboo. Bamboo is just kind of a name of a plant that looks like this. This is called giant cane. So it's actually a native plant that we have. If you look out here, we've got the big leaf plants that's growing in bunches out there. It has an arrow-shaped head. That's called duck potato. Lots of times our wetland plants, we have 3 or 4 different species of wetland plants that look very similar, and they have that arrow-shaped head. They're obligate wetlands. They are only found where it's saturated soil. And there's sedges, and there's rushes, and there's all kinds of things out here. This is a super rich, very high-quality wetland, and is exceptional at providing water quality benefits. It helps drop sediment out. They'll uptake pollutants. When we have areas like this on our property, we do everything we can to preserve them because they're really, really, really good for our environment. You'll see that this lowland, which again 50 years ago was a farm, has now 1.5 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet in some areas of water standing in it. A boatload of wetland vegetation. We've got green ash trees growing out in there. This is an awesome birding area. Lots of aquatic type birds, birds that you would think to be around water, like ducks and wading birds and herons and just all kinds of really cool stuff. And again, because of the fact that this is here, we have every species of amphibian in Mecklenburg County occurs on this property somewhere. There's this real slender plant right at the water's edge. What kind of leaves did a rush have? You remember rushes are round, so it's got a little round kind of tubular like leaf on it. So, got anything else you want to talk about?
No, you covered it pretty well. There is a I guess some people are putting some nesting boxes out here. Is that
Historically,
sandbags? Is that who put those?
historically there were some boxes. I don't know if they're a duck or a warbler. I don't remember
Well,
seeing
there's one
them.
out in the middle of the wetland that now has nesting tree swallows in it, and tree swallows probably there's maybe 3 places in the county that they breed, so it's pretty unique bird to be breeding in Mecklenburg County.
In the wintertime, the water's cold and deep, but you can actually go out there and see a lot more of the wetland. This time of year it's pretty lush, and so it's a little bit of a challenge. This tree that I'm standing right next to here is a hickory. It's a shaggy bark hickory. This could, I don't know if this is or not. I'd have to look at I'd have to find some hickory nuts to tell. But we have a tree. My favorite scientific shortleaf pines. Shortleaf pines are a native pine species that we have. They are often found in hardwood forests. They are a species in decline. We don't have a lot of shortleaf pine here like we used to. They've been replaced in large measure by the loblolly pine.